Okay, so here ready to start my first hive. I've got my bees I just picked up a couple hours ago. It was a long drive with them. Got 3-pound hive, 3-pound package. This came from Apis Hives in Grand Junction. Looks like they're doing pretty good, pretty healthy, pretty excited. Gonna go ahead and give you a bit of a closer look here. Kind of what we got going on in there. We're gonna go ahead and open up the top of it, take out the sugar feeder, get the queen out and get her ready to go in, and then the rest of the hive ready to go after that. Okay, so we've got our hive already set up and everything. I've got just an empty deep here on top of a full chamber of 10 frames. And that's basically just for adding the bees in. I'm gonna take this off later, but just to have a nice big area to dump them into and room for the feeder I'm gonna put on there and everything. So the first step's gonna be to get this can out that has the feed for the travel, which is just sugar water. I'm gonna take that out, and as soon as I get it out, I'm gonna slide a piece of cardboard over top and weight it down to keep the bees in there. And then this little metal tab right here has the queen, her cage is attached to it. So as soon as I get the can out of the way, I can slide that over and knock the bees off it, the attendant bees, and pull her out, and then I've got her ready to go for the next step. So step one, let's see if I can go ahead and get this can out of here without making too much of a mess. Actually, I think I'll give them a nice little tap first, kind of get the bees down to the bottom.
Smoke them?
Yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll smoke them real quick. Get them calmed down a little bit. A lot of people put, they'll spray them with sugar water at this point. But I'm gonna try just smoking them first. Calm them down a little bit, give them just a second to settle. There, I don't know if you can hear them, they're pretty active in there. Let's see if I can get this can out real quick. A little bit difficult with gloves, okay. Get that up, and I'll just try not to crush any bees as I take it out. Okay, a couple got out, not too bad. Set that off to the side. Now, it's gonna be the same thing, trying to get that queen out of here. Just get a hold of this tab here. Slide her over. Shake her off. And we got a couple bees out, not too bad. So I'll show you the queen. She's in her own little cage here. Happy as can be. And there's this cork plug in the side that I'm gonna pull out and replace with a candy plug, which I have here. It's a hard candy. So I'll pull that cork out and put this in. And then when I put her in the hive, it'll take hopefully about a couple of days for the rest of the bees to start eating that sugar out and release her. So during that time, while she is held in there but can't get away, her pheromones will go through and permeate the hive, and all the other bees will know that that's home. So let's go ahead and swap that out real quick. This just pulls out, and I'll kind of keep my thumb over the hole, keep her from coming out. Shove that down in there. That should work. So we've got the hard sugar, or hard candy, and the queen in there. And then we'll go down to the hive here. where I'm gonna place this. Let's go on the side. What I'm gonna do is just straighten out this tab a little bit, kind of bend it over to the side, and I'll just pinch her between these two frames with her screen facing down so the other bees can still come feed her while she's in there, and just kind of bend that tab over, and then slide these other frames over to fill the gap a little bit, keep her nice and snug in there, and then she is ready to go. Now we'll just be, I've seen several videos where people just try and dump all the bees out of the hole in the top of the box, the package. That looks pretty violent, pretty rough on the bees. They don't seem to care for it too much. So I think what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and pry these little pieces of wood off here and open this whole screen to the side so I can get them out much easier, hopefully get all of the bees out. And if I don't get all of them out right away, it's not a big deal. But that's my hope, is that I can kind of get them all out at once and a little more smoothly. So let's go ahead and see if I can do that. Just going to use my hive tool and pry away. Probably best not to do this over the hive, but out here in this beautiful area we have for keeping them, there's not a lot of options, not a lot of table space. So I'll see if I can get this open. Okay, so I've got the side of the box opened up. We just gave them a little bit more smoke, hopefully calm down a little bit. And go ahead and peel this screen off and dump them in and see how this goes. So far, not quite as smoothly as I'd hoped. Obviously, the bees don't really enjoy this process a whole lot. But once they're in their home, they should be pretty happy, I think. Okay, I've gotten most of them out of there. So what I can do is, and right now I'm practicing not going in the front of the hive. You always want to work on the side of it. If you get between them and the entrance, they tend to get a little upset. But I'll set the rest of this down here, and they should be able to find their way into the hive pretty easily. So I'm going to take my bee comb brush here, and just kind of brush them in. I'm thinking now, seeing how riled up they got, I think next time I'm going to go with the sugar water, hit them with sugar water before I open the package. But they seem fine so far. They don't care to stay in there very much though. That's right, I'll just make sure I got a clear spot here. And you can see they're already going down into the hive. They can smell the honey that's on those pre-made frames, or not the honey, but the wax. And they know that that's where they're supposed to build. And obviously you can see them somewhat clustering around the queen there. They definitely know where she is. So I'll get a spot cleared here where I'm gonna put my feeder. I've seen several different methods for the feeder. What I eventually want to do is get what's called like a hive top feeder, but that's a little expensive. I didn't want to shell out the bucks for that one right now. So I just went with this It's like a bird waterer, bird feeder. And I've got 1-to-1 sugar water inside there that I mixed up. So I'll just turn this over, and I've got some glass beads I'm gonna put in there. That hopefully, oops, dropping a few in there, will that'll give them a place to rest on there, and hopefully they won't drown. Like I was saying, this is very much a temporary feeding situation for me here. I don't want to keep feeding them like this for very long. But since they're brand new, to get them established. Oh man. Looks like that'll work pretty well. Hmm?
More right on that backside.
I think I've dropped more into the hive than into there. And that'll be pretty easy to clean out later on. Shouldn't be a big deal. So now we've got them their water, their sugar water. There's a flat brown patty in the back of the pickup, like in the bed. Can you bring that over? It has like wax paper on both sides. So we've, in this beautiful area that we have to keep the bees in, there's not a lot of natural flowering plants out here right now, or at least not much that's coming up. So we've planted a whole bunch of wildflowers and different types of flowering plants and everything out here, and we're just waiting for those to come up. So in the meantime, while we wait for that, I have a pollen patty I'm going to put in here for the bees that will just give them a little extra pollen so they don't have to scrounge so hard for some stuff. The main thing they're going to need is the sugar water. The pollen is their source of protein, but that's not it's not quite as essential from what I understand. Again, this is my first year doing this, first time, brand new to everything. I've been doing tons of research, but boy, there's a lot of different varying opinions on all kinds of stuff out there. So I'm still learning a lot, obviously. I'm just looking here, I can see a few drones. You can tell they're quite a bit larger than the worker bees. There's a drone right there. Just a regular worker bee. Pretty interesting just to see all the different types and everything that's going on. And the way they're getting on the sides here, I don't know if I would consider this bearding, but it kind of looks like bearding. Thank you. And that might be a sign that they're a little hot right now. Like I said, they were in the vehicle for several hours, so they might be a little bit warm. They're kind of spread out like this to kind of cool off. But it should be fine. So like I said, I got this pollen patty I'm going to put in here as well. I've heard a lot of mixed things on them. Some people swear by them. Some say you don't need them. Right now, as it is, I'd rather err on the side of caution and have it in there and not need it. And so I'm actually going to put that on top of the inside cover. So I'll brush these guys down back in there a little bit. I don't want to keep the hive open any longer than I need to. Brush them back down inside there so I get the top cover on, that pollen patty on, and we should be good to go. Okay. So there's the top vent. I'll put the pollen patty right by that. I'm actually going to take my knife here if I can find it. See my knife anywhere? Oh, I can just use my hive tool.
I got a knife.
I'm just gonna score this paper a little bit. It's got some pre-made holes in there. But I just want to open it up, make sure they can really get at that pollen if they want it. And from what I understand, they'll eat this paper too. Now the entrance reducer, since it's such a young hive, I'm gonna go with the smaller hole. It gives them a smaller area to guard. The bees won't have to work as hard to keep out predators and other bees trying to come steal honey or whatnot. And then later on, I'll use the big one. So let's put this in down here. We've got a couple of bees in the way. Just like that. So we got the small entrance open. And I'll go ahead and put on the telescoping top. And the ratchet strap back on. And I've got the bees on a stand here. Most of the stuff I've learned says that you don't really need the stand. The idea is it's 18 inches off the ground. We do have raccoons and possums and stuff in the area, so I want to try and keep them out. That's the idea of it being 18 inches up. And eventually I'm going to, the plan is to fence in an area for them and even electrify the fence if we need to. So I can get them down just on the pallet themselves. But right now that stand is in there, that's nice, keep them up, keep them safe. And ideally I want to move it down so it's a lot easier to lift. And once I get some supers on here full of honey, it'll be a lot easier to lift those off and everything. But right now, looks like we're good to go. Got our ratchet down. They seem to be, I mean, you can see them right now. They're using the entrance. They know where to go. Every once in a while you'll see one come in and land here, go inside. Oh, there we go. So they know where the queen's at. They know hopefully what home's gonna be. They're going in and out, and right now they're checking out the hive, looking for other places, other entrances. I suppose I'll just take this feeder. I can feel there's some honey or some sugar water left in there. I'll just set it here so that they can still get at that too. Might as well give them a little extra to eat. Other than that, I'll pick up, clean everything up, and get out of here, leave them be. I'll come back in a couple days to check on their sugar water. Most of what I've read says you want to leave them alone for about the first week. Don't really want to be in here too much. But because I have such a small feeder in there for the sugar water, I want to come back in a couple days and check on that, make sure they still have sugar water. From what I understand, a full-grown colony, when they're really going into high production, they could run through something like that pretty dang quick. So again, for my first experience doing this, I think it went well. We'll see. This might just be an experiment to see how easy it is to kill a couple thousand bees, but I'm hoping not. Oh yeah, you can see they're really going in there now. Now that it's closed up, they found the entrance, they know. Look at them all going in there. All right, cool. Let's grab our stuff and get out of here. Thanks for watching, guys.